Well, hey everyone, this is Dennis. I'm here with my 2004 Frontier, and I'm going to do a short form video of what you need to go through to be able to work on your instrument cluster. Whether you need to replace the cluster or whether you need to pull it out to make repairs or like I did recently, swap out light bulbs. In my situation, the bulbs were old, they were dim because they had degraded over many years. A couple of the bulbs looked like they were stock from the factory and had never been touched. So the lights were really dim at night, so I put fresh bulbs in. It really brightened it up and alleviated that problem. There's actually a longer form video, that whole process where I go into I'll actually show the bulbs that came out of it and all that other stuff. But this is quick and dirty because I noticed that before I went into that, I couldn't find any video on how to do this. So I figured it would be good to take a few minutes and actually show how to do this. There's good things about the Chilton manual and the Haynes manual to help you get things done. This is one of those situations where there's so many variations on the trim that it's hard for the Haynes manual or the Chilton's manual to give you information specific to trim level. So hopefully I'll put this out there, and hopefully it'll help somebody down the line that has an 01 to 04 Frontier that needs to get to the instrument cluster. And kind of buried in here is how to get into the steering column, because this has to come out of the way in order to get this opens up room so you can get these panels out. But if somebody needs to change out the lights, the lighting stock or the turn signal stock, or on the other side the wiper stock, taking this clamshell off is how you get there. So so I have cheated a little bit as I've run the screws out. We're really only dealing with 7 screws to get to the instrument cluster, and 2 of them they're all Phillips, by the way. 1 Phillips screwdriver, all you're going to need for this task. There's a screw up in here, and then over here underneath the brake release, so I can get my light up in there. You see back in that little channel there, there's a screw hole there, which I've run out. And then on the underside of this clamshell on the steering column, there are 5. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. 4. And then way up under here, hard to see, over here, right underneath the ignition, is number 5. So these take patience. They're not in very tight, but because they're sunk so deep into this clamshell, into this plastic, you can't really get a good eyeball on whether or not your screwdriver is engaged. So a lot of it can be frustrating trying to get the feel to make sure that you're engaged with the screw to run it out. But it shouldn't take a lot of force because they're not installed with a lot of force. They should come out pretty quick. So once you have the screws out, go ahead and just get the fuse panel cover out of the way. Just set it aside, and that's mainly just for convenience, so it doesn't pop out on you when you start pulling panels off. So I'm going to switch over here to this side. We're going to do the steering column clamshell first, and over here with the light, there's a trim ring. So let me get this light to set up. Okay, good. So there's this trim ring around the ignition. So this bad boy, what it does is it just pops out. You just get your finger up behind there and just give it a little twist, and it comes right off. So we're just going to toss that on the floor. Okay, and then once you have your screws out, then the upper and lower clamshell are just held together by little clips that just will separate when you put some pressure on it. That drops out. That lifts off. Now you got your steering column. And like I said, now if you need to change out an ignition switch, or if you need to change out the windshield wiper stock, or on this side you have your turn signal and your lighting stock, now you have plenty of access. It's easy to get to that. So see how quick and easy that was? That probably took, if I had not been yammering, that would have taken 5 minutes to get to that. Okay, so with that out of the way, now we have room to work on this lower panel. As I said, the screws, one here and one back here. Yes, back up under here, sorry. Right there. Okay, run those out, and then all you have to do is give it a little tug, and that's popped loose. Now you've got wires here, so you don't want to get too aggressive. You don't have to disconnect any wiring. You don't have to disconnect any plugs or anything like that. You can let it just gonna let it sit off to the side, because this is actually a separate piece of the panel that is for mounting the the ventilation system and whatnot. This is just this whole thing here is just one piece. It's an outer trim panel, kind of hard to see, but yeah. So this whole outer part here, from here all the way over to here, is just one piece. It does not tuck. The light down. One thing it doesn't do is it does not tuck. It looks like it tucks or may clip back behind this console here, but it does not. This is free and clear. It's not held in place with any screws. It's just panel clips. So you just have to get a graph somewhere and just kind of start encouraging it to come loose for you, just like that. And that was not a lot of force. It was just more noise from the plastic as it let go of the clip. Let me see if I can get this to come the rest of the way out. Now you don't want to get too aggressive with this because your turn signal indicators are here and here, and there are lamps plugged into the back of those and with wires. So you don't want to get too aggressive pulling too far away once you pull this loose. Let me pop that back a little bit. There, that freed it up. And now I can lay it down a little bit, switch the light here. Now you can see the wires that are coming in to the back of the turn signal indicators there. So these just, I wish I had another hand. Let's see if I can find a place to hang this light and make it work. Crud. I didn't think through this part. Okay, so this may be hard to see. There, it's adjusting a little bit. There, we go. Okay, you can see this socket right here. These just twist out and pull free. And if you need to replace that bulb, that's how you replace that bulb. So I'm going to put this back in, so I don't need to do anything with it. It's fine. So if you need to get this panel completely off and out of the way because you want to work on the cluster, you just disconnect these two bulbs. Go ahead and do that now. Twist and pull. They're out. This is out of the way. And now you're at your cluster. And so this is all pretty well self-contained. If you need to pull it out, there are 3 screws. Lay this down again. 3 screws. There's one here, top center. There is one back in here, lower left. One, it's going to be harder to see, back here, lower right. 3 screws, and then this whole assembly will come out all in one piece. There's a wiring harness on here, top right, wiring harness here, top left. The wiring for your turn signal indicators are wired into these harnesses. So you can't tape this out of the way and forget it, because as soon as you go a step further with the process, you're going to need to have these hanging free. You can't tape them out of the way. So then you can pull that out, and you can either replace, if you need to replace the whole cluster, you replace the whole cluster. If you need to replace the bulbs are themselves are on the back side, twist base. I think you do about a 45-degree twist to release, and lock them back in place, and then installation is just the reverse of what I just showed you. So hopefully this will be a help to some people. I'm not going to show the process of putting it all back together because really don't need to spend time on that. But you can use this to, anytime you need more access than what you would normally have to any of these areas. Say you want to run wire for a microphone, for your audio, your car audio system, your Bluetooth system, or any number of things you might want to get at. You need those panels out of the way. It's really not that hard. It doesn't take up that much time, and it's not messy at all. It doesn't take a lot of tools. I did all of this with one screwdriver and 7 screws. So hope you found that helpful, and see you next time.